I want to start working on getting you guys to write. So the first thing we're going to do is just write about our day. And the easiest way to do that, and if you're feeling uncomfortable writing, this would probably be your best start. So think about what you do during the day. The first thing you're going to do is wake up, yes? Now, what time do you wake up? It just depends. So for me, I wake up at 5:30. So I would just write 5:30. And the easiest thing to do to describe this would be wake up. That's not a complete sentence, but it's a good start. So 5:30, wake up. Now, I would say I eat breakfast at 6. So I'll put 6. And I eat breakfast. Generally speaking, I leave to go to work at 7:30. Now that happens to be the same time Rose goes to school. So for you guys, you could probably write go to school. And I could write that as well, since that's technically what I do. I go to school too. So go to school. You could, if you want to put down like your class schedules and stuff, you can do that. But for me, at 11:30, I eat lunch. Now I go home at 3. So 3, go home. Depending on what my day is, depends on what I might do over here, but I would probably put 5:30-ish. I make dinner. Now you guys are probably not making dinner, but you could be doing homework or you could watch TV. So 5:30, make dinner. I'll say maybe 6:30 is when I would take a bath. And let's just say 9 o'clock, I go to bed. So this is just basic. So I basically just have waking up, going to bed, eating my 3 meals, and then 2 activities, going home and going to school. Now you guys could have other things in here, like during this time I actually watch the TV news and I vacuum and I clean. And between taking a bath and going to bed, I often do laundry. So there's other things you can write in here. So this would just be the easiest start to writing our English sentences. So that's our easiest start. So that's upgraded a little bit. So this is our schedule. We had this as a schedule. So I would say I wake up. I'm just doing the same schedule, just making sentences. Wake up at 5:30. And you need a period because that's what we do. So I eat breakfast at 6. I go to school at 7:30. I eat lunch at 11:30. I go home at 3. I make dinner at 5:30. I take a bath at 6:30. I go to bed at 9. Now, this was just the easiest thing. And if you notice, the only difference between this and this is I put I in front of everything, and then I put at the time. So really, it shouldn't be too hard to make sentences. And if you want, you can actually switch this. You can write at 5:30, I wake up. So you can either have the at 5:30 at the end, or you can have the at 5:30 in the beginning. Either way is okay. Now, let's upgrade this even more. So that would be our start to our simple writing. Let me get another piece of paper. Now, I'm still doing the same thing, but I'm gonna make it a little bit more detailed. So, and I can start the same thing, or you can add adverbs. So, I wake up at 5:30, and I'm gonna write every morning. So I added an adverb in here. We've been doing the adverb. So I wake up at 5:30 every morning. And depending on the time of year, like right now it's winter, so you can write it's very dark because the sun hasn't come up, and cold in the morning. Now, what do I do next? So I actually do more things. I exercise and I make lunch boxes, but I'll skip that. We can do that as another lesson time. So I'm gonna say not at 6, but I'm gonna kind of change it a little bit. Around, because remember I said you can have either before or after. So around, so not exactly at 6 o'clock, but sometime around there. I eat breakfast. Now, I happen to eat breakfast at the same time Rose does. So I eat breakfast around 6 o'clock. I eat breakfast with Rose. Now, usually we're not really doing anything complicated. So I would say usually we, because it's me and Rose, eat cereal and toast. So that's what we usually eat on a nice weekday, because it's quick and easy. And then what do I do next? So I go to school at 7:30. Can't really think of anything to do this, but since I drive, I can say sometimes I was going to talk about the car. So sometimes the road is crowded. So sometimes it takes me a whole lot longer to get to work than other days because everybody's out on the road on the same time. So sometimes the road is crowded, and I can say I listen to music while I drive. Now, you guys are walking to school, so maybe you can be like, sometimes my walking group is late. Maybe somebody's always slow. Or as I walk to school, I talk to, and you can list your best friend's name or whoever you talk to in your walking group. Where do you go? So, I eat lunch at 11:30. And what do we normally eat? I normally have rice. So I usually, or you can have normally, I usually eat rice, meat, and vegetables for lunch. I think you guys sometimes have some kind of soup to go with your lunch. I'm gonna need a new piece of paper in a second. So I usually eat rice, meat, and vegetables for lunch. And then I always have tea. I always bring some tea. Tea after lunch. Okay, so add a little bit extra in there about lunch. And let's see, what was it next? I go home at 3. So now you can say I go home at school or I leave school. So I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I leave school at 3. My traffic's not so bad, but sometimes the sun is directly in my eyes. So I can write that in there. It's hard to drive because the sun's glaring in my eyes, but let's just say it's warmer in the afternoon. It's warmer going home than, because we're comparing, than coming to school. So maybe you could talk about how you get really hot walking home from school. All right, what happens next? 5:30 I make supper, but I'm gonna say before I make, I think I used dinner, so I'll put dinner back here. Before I make dinner, comma, I watch the news. Now maybe you guys watch a favorite TV show, or maybe you don't even watch TV, maybe you play with friends. So I watch the news and clean the house. So that's what I usually do in the afternoons. So then I make dinner at 5:30. You could talk about what you eat for dinner. Like in our house, every Tuesday we have tofu. So every Tuesday we eat tofu. It just happens to be our usual Tuesday meal. At 6:30, I take a bath. There's nothing really you can kind of add too much to that. You can, if you bring toys into the bathtub, I suppose you could write about what kind of toys you play in the bath, or if you take a bath with your little brother, you could write that in there. So before because it's usually before I go to bed. So before I go to bed, I do laundry. Now, I happen to hang it up inside so that we get extra moisture in the air, and that helps to keep us from getting sick during the winter time. So I hang it inside for extra moisture. And then I go to bed at 9. So we went from, okay, the easiest way and the easiest start. So just basic time and what we do. And then we made it a little bit more detailed by adding the at what and the I. So we actually just make complete sentences, but it was still really easy. And then the last one is when we added a little bit more detail, and so I got 2 pages out of this. So you can try either way. But if you're going to start simple, and then I want you to build up. But you could try to make it more complicated. And if you want to talk about one particular day, you can add details to it, like I ate chicken for lunch today, or today at school I fell down. You know, you can add some details about what happened during your day as well, but just give it a shot and try.